The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome. This is Jim Whitaker and I'm really excited about this session. I call it 21 Tips for Optimizing Your Website, but what it's really about is building your business in 2017. And the internet and your website are essential to that process. So this section is about maximizing the effectiveness of all your marketing and advertising in 2017. So I'm Jim Whitaker, and in this session, in addition to providing you with 21 very specific tips you can implement to immediately help build your business, I'll also be introducing you to Insurance Marketing Made Easy, which is a program I've created to help you take advantage of the most effective marketing channels available in 2017. So what is this? Crates of apples, right? I know showing you crates of apples is an unusual way to start a business session, but here's what I'm thinking. Fruit trees are popular and a big business in my part of the country, Southern Oregon. We have thousands of acres of them, and it occurs to me how similar an apple tree is to an insurance agency website, believe it or not. Because like neglected agency websites, neglected trees don't produce much fruit, and the fruit they do produce is often low quality. On the other hand, well cared for trees produce the kind of fruit that helped turn Harry and David, which is located about 10 miles from where I'm sitting, into a household name across the country. So let me ask you a question. If your website was an apple tree, would it look like this or like this? Most agencies treat their websites like an online brochure, and maybe they add a tweak here and there every few months or years or maybe never, but mostly it's just set and forget, which is a huge missed opportunity. You need to think of your website as a living thing because it can be like this apple tree. If you take proper care of it, you can harvest crates and crates of ripe, delicious apples from it year after year. Instead, agents treat their websites like a cactus. They sprinkle a little water around it every now and then to keep it alive, but they try not to touch it much for fear of getting their fingers pricked. Maybe handsome and dignified, but they're just not too inviting. So what do you want from your website? Delicious apples or prickly cactus needles? So today I'm going to talk about turning 21 missed opportunities into 21 actionable opportunities, which I've divided into 3 groups. Engagement opportunities, what to do to gain the attention of your website visitors. Content opportunities, how to provide compelling content, and the tactics to do it. What are the tactics you need to help you get conversions, convert visitors to prospects and prospects to customers? Okay, number 1, don't use an outdated design. You know the expression, you only get one opportunity to make a first impression? Well, one of the biggest missed opportunities is the ability to make a great first impression with your website. The whole reason to have a website is to get more customers, and an outdated design costs you that opportunity. Humans are hardwired to make quick decisions. It takes about 7 seconds to form an impression of someone you just meet, and it's the same with websites. So you need to ask yourself this question, is my website out of date? Now this website is almost an exaggeration of an out-of-date website. In fact, it's a bell-bottoms and leisure suits out-of-date website. Most agency websites aren't this bad. In fact, this isn't even an agency website, but I use it because it represents kind of what you see out there sometimes. Different fonts, colors, very dated graphics. The main problem with most insurance agency websites that are a lot of date is that they don't have much going on and they lack focus. So here's a real example where I've blurred out some of the details. It's not a bad design, but it's dated because it lacks clarity and focus. Now, a few years ago, we thought it was a good idea to cram a lot of information on one page, but online viewers have become more sophisticated and they don't want to squint to read everything that's on a page. So what are the ideal qualities for a website built in 2017? First, simple navigation. And this is Chris Huntley's website. I'm going to be referring to Chris's website quite often in this presentation. Huntley Wealth Insurance Services. Very easy navigation. You can see up at the top he's got the a couple of navigation menus. Next thing you want to look for is easy access to important information like your phone number, address, content page. Again, easy to find. Your home page should present a clear and focused message and use images that have authentic emotional appeal. Again, Chris Huntley's website scores well in this department. Now let's go back and look at the website I had up before. The picture's appealing, but what's the message? It just seems to be saying we want to sell you insurance. There's nothing engaging here except for the image itself. Chris, on the other hand, is trying to be helpful. Tough medical issues, let me save you some money on life insurance. Let me get you some life insurance. Let's look at another site. This is the Cronin Agency, which I think is in Boca Raton. Here the main message really is kind of the photo. It's just a very engaging photo. These people look friendly. They are trustworthy, engaging people you want to do business with, probably. So tip number 2, write a clear and focused message and use images that have authentic emotional appeal. So how do you come up with a clear, focused, and appealing message? Well, Donald Miller of StoryBrand says there are 3 questions that every website should answer when someone lands there. What do you do? How can that help me? And how do I get started? So let's look at the Excalibur Insurance Agency. How do they handle this question? What do they do? Well, it's kind of in their name, Excalibur Insurance. That makes it easy. How can they help me? Well, they want to protect you, which is a nice change of pace to use the word protect, by the way, instead of insure, because it has a little more emotional impact, and it fits their branding well. So the third question is, how do I get started? You click on one of these buttons, auto, home insurance, business, whatever it might be, right? So that's fairly straightforward. Let's look at another one. This is the Marshall Insurance Agency, and quite different. What do? Obviously, it's in the name again, Marshall Insurance. What's in it for me? How are they going to help me? I'll get you the right insurance protection at the lowest cost. And how do I get started? Call this number for a free quote. And then Chris Huntley, one of his specialties is hard to place insurance, life insurance. So how does he answer the questions? What does he do? Provides life insurance. How does he help you? He'll get you coverage if you have a medical issue, and you can get started by getting a free quote. Yeah, so notice how vastly different these websites are, particularly Chris's and Marshall's. It just shows how agencies can take a completely different approach to their branding, but still have compelling messages if they're presented properly. Now, I review websites all the time, and one of the biggest missed opportunities I see is not including calls to action. If you include a call to action, you'll get a lot more engagement with your website. So here's just a few examples of the different calls to action out there. Get a quote, read more, pay your bill, get this free white paper, get rewarded for giving us a referral, sign up for our seminar, so on. So many websites don't have any engagement opportunities on them. This is one example. Not a whole lot going on. Well, there's a lot going on here in terms of it being very busy. It does have read mores down here. I'm not really quite sure. I put this one up mainly because of a design problem with it. Notice the black type against the green background. Not really too engaging for that. People are not going to be invited to read this. So they may actually click on the read mores just so they can see what's supposed to be being said there. The refer a friend call to action is something not many agents use, but it really is a great way to get referrals. You offer people a free gift card or start a contest like this website has, and it's also something you can really promote using social media. One thing you want to do is get people to come back to your website as much as possible, even existing customers, because when they come back to your website, you have another opportunity to cross-sell them. So why not try to have customers pay their bills at your website? So what's the best place to put your calls to action on the page, or anything else you want people to make sure they see? Studies show that the eye starts looking at a page from the top left and moves across and then down to the left and heads to the right. It's kind of a Z pattern. This is where the eye rests, and this is where you want to put your calls to action. So this is an example from SelectQuote. The first thing you look at is the dad with his daughter, and then he's having tea time with her, and the next position as your eye moves over, and then where do you go next? You go down into the left corner, be there even if you're not. Makes the viewer think about, I want to make sure that I've got my family taken care of in case anything happens to me. And the next step is start your free quote here. So perfect example of using the visual cues that you get on the page to create better engagement. Another missed opportunity, you see this less and less because people are getting savvy about this, but you really need to have a mobile-friendly website. And mobile-friendly just means that you're going to, I've got some messages there, okay. Mobile-friendly just automatically adjusts or changes the content sizes and design so that they fit on smaller screens in a way that's easy to read. So you've heard the statistics about how many more people are viewing websites with mobile devices, but if that wasn't reason enough to want your website to be mobile, consider the fact that since April of last year, Google has actually officially changed its algorithm, and it is favoring websites that are mobile friendly over those that aren't. Another missed engagement opportunity is the lack of information about your staff, providing that kind of information. We like to say that insurance is a people business, so show visitors your people. You know, it humanizes your firm. It's just a great way to differentiate yourself too from big and personal insurance companies, you know, where you never get to talk to the same person twice, you get transferred all over the place. Show them you've got real people. And then this is a big one. Have a clearly defined, unique selling proposition. If you haven't taken the time to develop one, again, you're missing out on a huge opportunity, because here's the problem. When people get to your website, if they can't differentiate you from the last 7 they've been to or the next 5 they're going to go to, they're just going to forget you. They're not going to do business with you. They're going to walk away. This actually, this costs you conversions, costs you. It shows up as bounces in your Google analytics. And we're going to get to all that in a minute. But let's just look at a couple of agencies that have good, strong, unique selling propositions. This is the home page of Gary Sides Marshall Insurance again. And now a statement like this, I'll get you the right insurance protection at the lowest cost, is nothing unusual, right? I mean, thousands of agents say this. But the difference is that Gary says it with flair and authority, because he is, after all, the Marshal, right? That's his USP, and he follows through with this theme throughout the website. Completely different way of going about things. Chris's website's more subtle. He positions himself as an expert in getting life insurance for people with tough medical issues. His tagline is, "From bad hearts to missing parts, we've got you covered." It's whimsical but friendly, you know. So something that kind of goes with the USP is having a unique logo that reflects your brand. Now, this won't build customer satisfaction or generate loyalty or convert prospects to customers, but it will anchor your brand in people's minds. It's part of your branding. So when people see your logo, they immediately recognize it as a symbol of your firm, and they think of you. Whatever feelings they have about you, are come to the fore at that point. And I would recommend that you get a logo that's distinctive, like some of the ones I've got up here. Something that's memorable, that captures the quality or personality of your agency. For example, Arch in the lower right-hand corner. Arch is an agency located in St. Louis. So, of course, the A in the Arch, in the word Arch, is a rendition of the St. Louis Arch. Amador Healthcare was started by a pharmacist, so he's got his medical symbols on there. The Risk Transfer, they've got some precariously perched blocks there, kind of indicating the concept of risk. And then Beach City is an agency located in Huntington Beach, so they've got an umbrella. You know, things like that just they stand out in people's minds. And then, of course, you got in contrast, I wanted to show a very corporate logo, ASG Insurance Services in Reno. They just take a very corporate look, which is good too. I mean, that establishes your credibility and gravitas, right? So one other thing to think about when you're getting your logo is to get a favicon too. Those are those little shortcut icons that kind of pop up in browsers with your website name. Like think of the camera in Instagram, the asterisk symbol E-Trade has, that's the Bloom Green asterisk. So and with these, the logos I've showed you here, some favicon ideas might be for the A in Arch. Use that. The umbrella, Beach City, the blocks, Risk Transfer, and so on. Now, if you're thinking about a logo, you want to think about color too, because different colors signify different emotional responses. Think about this. What if McDonald's didn't have the golden arches? What if they were blue arches or something, right? Just wouldn't have the same emotional effect. Coca-Cola was blue, for example. Let me just start mentioning here some of the things that we're going to be doing in Insurance Marketing Made Easy if you decide to get a membership in that. We'll work with you on getting your logo, on picking the right colors for your logo, on all the other choices that you might be confronted with in deciding to come up with a unique logo for yourself. So now let's recap the first 8 tips for gaining interest at your website. First, use an up-to-date website design. Write a clear and focused message and use images that have authentic emotional appeal. Use calls to action. Position images and calls to action for maximum visual effect. Make your site mobile responsive. Include team profiles. Have a clearly defined unique selling proposition, and create a logo that reflects your brand. So we've talked about missed opportunities for getting people's attention and mentioned a few ways to fix those problems. So now that you've got your visitors' attention, how do you get them to do business with you? How do you get them to know, like, and trust you? If you're not creating original content, you're missing a lot of opportunity. I'm going to talk a lot more about creating original content and blogging in a minute, but first I want to talk about what happens at your website when you don't have much content, or we haven't changed your content for a long time. You're going to get this. This is static. It's an image of TV static, not a website, but it's still a good illustration of what your website looks like to Google, to the Google bots that go around trolling websites for content if it hasn't changed in years. Because static content won't get you visitors. Search engines will just stop paying attention to your links and your website. So how do you fix that? Introduce content to your website on a regular basis. I'm going to talk about ways to do that in a minute, but let's talk about your homepage. One of the biggest missed opportunities agents make on their homepage, and we've seen some examples of this before, but let me spell it out here now. It's the opportunity to connect with visitors by appealing to them directly, rather than talking about yourself, talking about your visitors. Instead of focusing on how you help, what a lot of agency websites do is, instead of focusing on how they help the customers, they talk about why they help the customers, which makes it all about them. Let me give you an illustration with this website. Here's what it says. We offer commercial and property insurance in Oregon. And then it's insurance solutions built for Oregon residents and businesses, and the text goes on to say, as an independently owned, and this is typical, I mean, this is actually good stuff, but I just want you to listen to how it's phrased, and then I'm going to talk about it. As an independently owned insurance agency based in Oregon, we focus on offering comprehensive insurance and risk management solutions. In business since 1955, our staff strives to become a trusted partner for clients in Oregon. Whether you're searching business insurance, health benefits, workers' compensation, or home and auto insurance, our agents are committed to building respect, trust, and partnership. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, of course. It's good stuff, and their intent is to be helpful. But the problem is the focus. It's mainly on themselves. They do this, they do that. They've been in business since. It's just all about them. Now let's look at, to bring this contrast home, let's look at a couple of other agencies to point out what I'm talking about a little more strongly. Here's Chris again. The focus here is on the customer right away. Nothing about Chris, nothing about when he started, how long he's been in business, the carriers he uses, none of that stuff. Tough medical issues save up to 73% on life insurance. And then again, Gary Sides gets right to it. I'll get you the right insurance protection at the lowest cost. It's more aggressive, but it's still about helping the customer. You know, and with, you know, Gary's whole branding thing is it makes you feel like, well, the law's on my side. You know, they're going to get me the right insurance protection. So another missed opportunity is trying to cover too much ground on a single page. Take a look at this website. There are so many different headlines here, and I blurred a lot of them out because what they are just repetition of the name of the agency and their tagline, and it's interesting. But actually, the site doesn't look half as bad once you remove everything. But there's still a lot going on here. There's headlines about driving and protecting your home. There's a video which actually doesn't play. There's contact information, a map, and after all of that, there's really no call to action on the page at all. Actually, the only call to action really is that video, which doesn't work. Another big missed opportunity is reviews, not having reviews. A lot of agents still call them testimonials. I've been recommending that our customers call them reviews because it's just something that's more in the vernacular these days. People think of reviews because of Amazon, because of Yelp, and so on, you know. And reviews are just so ubiquitous now. When you shop for a product on Amazon, you're typically faced with a lot of choices, so what's the first thing you do? You look at the reviews. Same with restaurants and travel. You go to Yelp or TripAdvisor. If you're not using reviews on your website, you're really missing a huge opportunity. And let me mention a few other things about reviews, because reviews can remove objections. For example, if someone says in a review, I thought there was no way my business insurance coverage could be better and my costs could be lower, but was I ever wrong? ABC did a fantastic job for my firm. That removes objections. I mean, it accomplished something. There was a problem there, and the problem was solved. And that's the kind of little story that you want to try to get out of your reviews. Also, if you can get reviews from people with high visibility, that's very helpful. And if I was an agent in this area, and I had Harry and David for a client, I try to get a review from them, put that on my homepage. And that's another thing. Putting really good reviews on your homepage is a great idea. Don't hide them all on one page. Put the best ones where people can see them, in your sidebar, on the homepage, you know, wherever. I don't want to spend a lot of time quoting statistics, but I think we should look at a few of them because they're important. 84% of people trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations. 74% of consumers say that positive reviews make them trust a local business more. 7 out of 10 consumers will leave a review for a business if they're asked to. Now think about that. I know a lot of agents are reluctant to ask for testimonials and referrals and that sort of thing from clients, but this reveals that people are really pretty willing to give you that sort of thing if you ask for them. And then 73% of consumers think that reviews older than 3 months are no longer relevant, which is another word to the wise, because a lot of people get some reviews, testimonials, they put them on their website and they become old after 2-3 years. Maybe some of those clients aren't even with you anymore. You need to be constantly asking people to give you reviews. And this is the sort of thing that really becomes more significant on Yelp and on some of the social media type of directories where you've got testimonials. If you've got a nice flow of reviews going all the time, that can add a lot to your trust and credibility. All right, so let's talk about the rest of the content, the blog on your, well, it can be a blog. Most often it is. A lot of people will be coming to your website because of what you're putting on your blog. You're going to be creating articles with keywords that Google is going to show people when they make searches, and that's going to bring people to your website. And I'm going to talk about SEO missed opportunities in a minute, but right now I want to stress the importance of creating a regular stream of content for your website. High quality, relevant content that not only brings visitors but makes them stay to read and watch your content and hopefully engage with a call to action, right? We talked about this a little bit back on the static website slide, but whether you write it yourself, get someone in-house to write it, or use a content provider service, it's just critical to have a regular flow of content on your website. Now, I mentioned Chris Huntley several times, and but I've got a couple of interesting stories about Chris to tell you. Chris started his blog about 8 years ago, and he now gets 1,000 to 1,200 leads per month from his website because of all the traffic that the posts he's written has created, has driven to his website. Now, I just talked to Chris the other day, and I really did, and I asked him the secret to how he manages to drive so much traffic to his website with his blog. He told me that in the beginning, he just wrote the kinds of things that every life agent writes, you know, the difference between term and whole life and things like that. And then when he started to run out of ideas, someone suggested that he write about his most challenging clients. And one of the first things he wrote about then was the challenge of finding a company to insure a man with a heart valve replacement. This post got him to the top rankings in Google. And by the way, the interesting thing about Chris's blogging, this is also how he found his USP, his unique selling niche in life insurance, selling policies to hard-to-place risks. I'm just going to take a drink of water here. Yeah, that's really interesting. You know, blogging kind of transformed him in terms of his business because it allowed him to find a unique niche, which he's really capitalized on. Now, this is something you can do too. And if you think you need help getting started, you're in luck, because the first course that I'm going to be teaching in Insurance Marketing Made Easy is going to be about blogging and everything related to content on your website. So more on that later. So I want to mention another insurance agency blogger, a guy named Joey Giancola. And I like this little quote of his. This was pulled from something Joey said. Insurance agents are some of the best content marketers out there. They just don't document what they do. You know, so if you thought you weren't a blogger, maybe you are. You know, have you checked your emails lately? Maybe you can post some of that content or develop it into an article. You know, what's that old saying you make when you make a rhyme accidentally? I'm a poet and I didn't know it. You know, it's the same thing. So I'm going to talk about using the content of blogs, of your blog posts to drive SEO business to your website in a bit. But let me just say here that the most important reason to write a blog, though, is to get people to know, like, and trust you. SEO is important, but the content should really come from the heart. And the other reason I mentioned Joey Giancola here is because Joey talks about how he gets phone calls from out of the blue from people who've been reading his blog for years. He's never heard from them before, but they'll just call him up and want to give him his business, all their business, just because they've come to know, like, and trust him through his blog posts. Okay. Content doesn't need to be written, just written. It can be a video. You can post videos. Marketing Sherpa says that people will stay on a page at least twice as long if there's a video. So here's an example. Randy Pfeiffer, Active Insurance in Colorado, posted a video right after Obamacare passed to help people struggling to sign up for the program. He uploaded it to YouTube, and in a couple of months that video topped 19,000 views after it went viral on Facebook. And you've probably heard of a guy named Ryan Hanley, whose claim to fame is that he posted a video a day on a personal line subject for 100 days. And this just drove all kinds of traffic to his agency at that point, put them at the top of the Google rankings for all kinds of keywords. So, you know, and if you're interested in video blogging, I'm not the only one who's going to be teaching the Insurance Marketing Made Easy courses. I've got a really great Hollywood video expert who's going to be helping out with those sessions. So, again, more on that later. So, another thing to think about is, of course, doing both, video and text. Joey Giancola does that. This is his website. There's Joey kind of peeking over one of his graphics. The best Ohio insurance plans for 2017. It's got a video and and text on that. You know, some people like to watch, some people like to read. The same person might prefer different formats in different situations, depending on how you feel about the subject or the mood you're in. You know, whatever works. Put them both up. Now, one thing you really need to do for your website is have a content strategy and a plan and follow it. Plan it out for the year, ideally, but if you can't do a year, at least, you know, do 2 or 3 months along the way. Keep a rolling 2 or 3 month calendar going. And this is something that I cover in the content marketing course, Insurance Marketing Made Easy too. So let's review the content tactics I've been talking about. First, you want to update your website regularly with new content. You want to focus on the how of helping customers, not the why of helping your customers. Don't cram too much content onto the page. Include customer reviews. Include a blog, and make videos, and maintain a content marketing calendar. So, next up, tactical mistakes. We've talked about missed engagement opportunities. We've talked about missed opportunities that come from lack of good content. Now we're going to talk about tactical mistakes like not using SEO or the right kind of SEO, Google Analytics, social media, and the big one, no lead magnet. Now, before I get into good SEO, white hat SEO, we need to talk about black hat SEO because there's some confusion about that still out there, I think. I think a lot of agents think that link farms and other practices that Google has come out against are still okay, but they're not. Following these kinds of practices, they won't get you thrown in jail or anything. They're not illegal, but there's a big cost to pay if you use them and get caught by Google because your website can get blacklisted forever by Google. I mean, they just won't send traffic to you anymore. I mean, it's not like your website's going to go away. It's going to be there. Just Google's not going to send anything there anymore. So very simply put, black hat means you're trying to fool Google. And you know, the problem is that often you don't even know what you don't know. You don't know what black hat is, so you don't know how to deal with it. This is the sort of problem that arises when agencies outsource their SEO to others and kind of don't even know what they're doing. They claim that they're going to give you a bunch of traffic to your website, and you say, well, fine, yeah, go ahead and do that. And they're doing these kind of black hat techniques. They're using them to drive traffic, and it's something that can get you in trouble. So I think you should know some of the basics of what black hat is so you know what to avoid. Again, I'm going to cover this a lot in Insurance Marketing Made Easy in the first course, the content course. But I want to give you at least you know, some of the basics of what black hat is so you can avoid it. First of all, don't buy links, private blogging networks. This is where they go out and they buy they buy domain names that have a lot of authority but aren't being used anymore. And they just finagle this so that authority traffic gets set over to your site from these sites, and that kind of gooses up your credibility as far as the search engines are concerned. You don't want to generate links with spam emails. This is sending out, you know, thousands and thousands of emails to people asking for a reciprocation in terms of swapping links. You don't want to keyword stuff. This is where you write an article and you just arbitrarily putting keywords all over the place and out of context. You know, not that it makes any sense, but because you think it's going to drive website traffic. And you don't want spin content. Spinning is something that a lot of people used to do. You take an article, and there's software for this. You can actually, the spin software will take an article and it'll rearrange all the words and make it like a different, you know, just completely change the article around. And then you take it and you submit it to these magazine type website services like eZine and Go Articles, Article Dashboard, and things like that, and get them reprinted with links sent back to you to your website. And finally, don't scrape articles, which means basically plagiarism. Don't take someone else's content and say it's yours. Change a few words, but basically represent that you wrote that yourself. And I'm not talking about syndication, you know, using content that's provided by insurance companies like Erie or whatever and putting that on your website. That's okay, but you know, don't plagiarize. Excuse me. So that's what you don't want to do. Legitimate on-site SEO, though, is an opportunity that's missed by almost all the websites that I see, really. These techniques are easy to implement once you've got content, any content, but people just don't do them. So huge missed opportunity, and it's costing you high-quality traffic. So here's some things you can do about that. I can't go into a lot of depth, but here's just a couple of quick ideas that could be really effective. Again, take the course. Join Insurance Marketing Made Easy, and you'll get a lot more of this information. But here's really a couple of very important things. One of the easiest things you can do to improve your SEO is to include in the footer the primary towns where you do business. This will enable search engines to associate keywords on your pages with your business when people make searches in these towns. You see what I mean? You might even seen this on a lot of sites. They list all the towns they do business with in the bottom, and then when there's a search and you have a keyword in there and the keyword relates to the town you do business with, someone says, you know, how do I find auto insurance in San Carlos, California? And the search engines see that you've got San Carlos, you've got auto insurance, they'll put two and two together possibly and put you somewhere in the search rankings because of that. The other thing to do is to focus on creating long tail keywords. And go back to my friend Chris Huntley again for this. Classic. This is just classic. As I mentioned before, he really got off the ground by writing about things that involved long tail keywords, and this one is a great one. He didn't write about life insurance. He wrote about life insurance approval after heart replacement surgery. And if you type this long tail keyword into Google right now, you will come up with Chris. He's number one. I mean, right below the ads, of course. But it's pretty unique. So this is the sort of thing that you really want to try to do in your posts. Come up with unique keywords like this that'll get you top Google rankings. So I've talked about on-site SEO, and that's all about the words on the page, things that you have control over, right? But off-site SEO is something you have less control over. This is where you're getting other sites, authority sites, to link to you. So this can come from a lot of different sources, and this diagram illustrates this well. It could be news releases, posts. You might comment in forums. There might be a YouTube video. Other people, you might guest blog on someone else's site. Your social media is an important factor. Directories that you can get listed in. Articles you write somewhere else. You can issue press releases. There'll be reviews of your of you in Yelp and places like. All these things contribute to off-page SEO. Very important to work on this kind of stuff. Most insurance agencies have poor outside SEO. In fact, I don't know if you've seen my latest blog. I did a study of 120 insurance agencies because I wanted to see, you know, one of the things I wanted to find out about was how well they how Google ranked them in terms of their blogs. You know, because a lot of insurance agencies use syndicated content. They don't really write the content themselves. In fact, the majority of them do, but some write original. And I wanted to establish that if you write your own content, you're going to get better Google ratings. And you really do. You get much better. And I kind of proved that. But one of the things that I was looking at in doing my research for this was the backlinks that agencies had. And I was so surprised. Some agencies had absolutely no backlinks. It's amazing because they're not that hard to get. And they will really dramatically improve your domain authority. And domain authority relates to how inclined Google is to send traffic to you. So it's really something you have to work on. And so here's a couple of easy ways to do it. If you belong to your local chamber of commerce, get listed on their website. If you have a local leads club or you belong to any local associations, you know, and they have websites, get listed on their website. And then you can get in directories. There are a lot of quality directories out there that you want to get into, like Yelp and Google Places, Yellow Pages Online, and so on. And there are services that will actually set you up with these directories. So Google Analytics. What gets measured gets improved, right? The problem with many agency websites is that nothing is getting measured. So how effective can you be if you don't know what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong? So that's what Google Analytics does. It measures all this data. And for the total price of absolutely nothing. It's free. But not many agencies really use it. And it's a tremendous cost because you don't know what, you don't make the effort to learn, right? So again, if you join Insurance Marketing Made Easy, we're going to take a deep dive into Google Analytics. We'll show you how to use it, also how to use other tools, especially SEO tools that you can use to help create long-tail keywords, analyze your competitors' keywords, and even figure out how to outrank them for top Google search engine rankings. Good stuff. Okay. Tip number 20, get a social media strategy. Now, this photo is not exactly what I had in mind, but these girls probably have a better social media strategy than most agencies. Nowadays, it's almost a given that an insurance agency will have some kind of social media presence, which is usually Facebook. It's just become a form of social proof. Visitors expect to see social media buttons on your website, but the problem with social media, unless you're using it for advertising for most agents, is that there's practically no way to measure your return on investment. This is why most agencies don't develop a social media strategy. They just don't feel, they feel they need a presence, but they're not sure why. Okay, so I have a couple of solutions. First, there are services out there that'll post your Facebook and other social accounts on a regular basis for you. Cost is somewhere between $100 and $200 a month. Yes, they use the same content for all the agencies they serve, but most of the agencies they serve are geographically dispersed, so people probably won't see the same stuff from or maybe they will. But here's the thing: the more exposure your agency gets, the more familiar people become with your brand, and the more likely they will be to trust you and reach out to you whenever they're ready to buy your services. So, that's really the reason to be out there. Even if you're not measuring what's going on, you want to have some kind of presence because it's social proof, it's credibility. The other solution is to do it yourself, or find somebody in your office, or outsource it to someone in your local community. Find somebody. You can find people to do these things, whether it's in-house or not in-house. And if you can get a dedicated person to do your social media work for you and do it for you, you're going to be a lot better off because you're going to get copy that is written for you. You're going to be able to engage your community, and you'll build a better brand. And this is a training that we're going to do in Insurance Marketing Made Easy. We'll have a whole course, spend a couple of months on social media marketing, I believe in April and May. The last one I want to talk about here is using lead magnets. And this is really the big one. People come to your website, if they're not going to buy from you right away, if you're not going to give them persuade them to get a quote from you, at least capture their contact information. So, the idea is to either have them be a customer now or become your customer later. So ideally, you want to give every person who comes to your website an opportunity to have a relationship with you so you can sell them down the road. And you're missing a tremendous opportunity if you're not doing this. So populate your website with quote requests if you can. Are you concerned about identity theft? Don't be a victim, get a quote. Are you carrying enough life insurance to protect your family? We have the lowest rates, get a quote, that kind of thing. But not everybody's ready to buy or even entertain the notion of making a purchase the first time they visit your site. That's why you need a lead magnet. Trust building is one of the main purposes of your website, so you want to ask visitors to sign up for a risk update, otherwise known as newsletters. We used to call them newsletters, but we're suggesting people not to call them newsletters. I mean, I'm a newsletter publisher, so I want to promote newsletters. But, newsletters just sounds boring. I mean, people like the content that they get, but to call them newsletters makes it sound boring, to be honest with you. Call them risk updates or something like that. Come up with your own unique name. Also, you can offer seminars, notifications of upcoming seminars, offer them a policy review, free report on how to do something like set up a living will, whatever it might be. The important thing is to get your visitors' email address so that you can nurture them going forward. Here's an example. Kirby & Company, they put out an annual report called 16 Things Employers Must Know for, this was from 2016. I think they have now one for 2017. And, if you want to download the free report, you'll get this sign-up form. And if they wanted to get better response, they might even leave off the first and last name. Just get the email address. So, of course, once you get their address information, you start sending them your blog posts, your newsletters, whatever your offers. Create autoresponders that'll give them actionable information. Prompt them to contact you for a risk evaluation or quote, or attend a seminar you're sponsoring. Now, the other thing is There are other ways to do this. You can offer free video courses, which Joey Giangola does. He, well, they're not, yeah, kind of courses. You can actually take a little course on car and home insurance from his website, retirement planning, health insurance, and all he wants is a first name, last name, and email address, and he'll get that going for you. And then another flavor of lead magnet is a book, like Gary Side's book, Insurance Made Simple. Sign up. You can sign up for that on the Marshall's website. So let's summarize the website conversion tactics we've been covering. First of all, use only white hat. Don't use black hat SEO. Use on-page SEO. Write great content. Use long-tail keywords. Use off-page SEO. Link to the Chamber of Commerce that you belong to. Directories, other authority sites, that whole array of off-site contacts that I illustrated in that diagram. Use Google Analytics, get a social media strategy, and use lead magnets. So let's bring it back around to the beginning. Is your website like a living, growing tree right now, like an apple tree maybe, that you can harvest crates and crates of delicious apples from, or is it more like a cactus? Is your website a lead magnet or a series of missed opportunities? Are you missing out on the opportunity to get more visitors, lots more visitors to your website, and then convert them to clients? In this presentation, I've been showing you the whys, mostly the whys. Why you need a blog, why you need a USP, why you need a social media strategy, why you need on-site and off-site SEO, why you need a lead generator, but I haven't told you how to create these things. How to install them, put them into effect. For this, I've created the Insurance Marketing Made Easy courses. And over the next year, if you join me at Insurance Marketing Made Easy, I and others will teach you everything you need to know about the how of these things. Because I'm guessing that either you or someone in your office needs to learn about how to do these things. And Insurance Marketing Made Easy is the perfect place. So let's look at some of the things we're going to cover over the next year. So starting in January, February, we'll cover content marketing. How to keep your website current, relevant, and optimized for new business. You'll learn essential content tactics that get top Google search results. Whether you do it yourself, outsource it to insource it to someone in your firm, or outsource it, you need to know how to blog. This is where people come to know, like, and trust you, sometimes a long time before they do business with you. You need to find your agency's voice and learn to be authentic on your blog, and I'll teach you the basics and much more. In March, April, we get to social media. For some agencies, it's an opportunity to grow their business. For most, it's a quagmire and a time suck. You'll learn how to get a positive return on your social media investment. And in May and June, it's videos. Video has changed everything on the internet. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and even Google search algorithms have joined YouTube in making internet video both ubiquitous and essential. In this segment, you'll learn how to harness the power of video to favor your agency. In July, August, we'll cover email marketing. Inboxes are saturated with emails. How do you get people to pay attention to your email? What's the best subject lines? What kinds of copy? Move people to take action, and how to use analytics to improve your open rates and conversions. September, October, branding. What's your unique selling proposition? You'll use tools that will help you discover your own unique brand and learn how to implement the changes to your agency that will make you truly stand out from the crowd. When people ask why they should do business with you, you'll have a compelling reason. You won't just be left saying service every time like your competitors always do. And then finally in November, December, we'll wrap up the year with a little bit on print marketing. Print still delivers tremendous return on investment for agents who know how to use it, what's the best content to use, and how to track and increase it. So What do you get when you join? You get 2 one-hour webinars per month, probably the second and last Wednesday of each month. You get transcripts of them, slide decks and videos of the webinars, cheat sheets. You'll get 1 30-minute coaching call per month and access to me via email with any questions you might have about any of the course material, help you along with whatever project you're working on at your agency at that particular time during the course. And it doesn't even have to be about the course that we're working on. If we're on content and you've got social media questions, you know, we'll deal with it at that time. Whenever you're ready is when we're ready. The cost is $97 a month. It's a $50 savings over the full $147 per month price if you sign up in the next 24 hours. You can suspend or quit your membership at any time. Just want to make that clear. $97 a month, suspend or quit anytime you want. No obligation to continue. It's only a monthly fee. So you have 24 hours, but why wait? Do it now. Look, I'm really looking forward to working with everybody on content marketing in January. You'll learn how to come up with blog ideas, how to do research that will help you find long-tail keywords for getting top Google search engine rankings. You'll learn about tools that you can use to find out what top search engine ranking keywords your competitors are using, and even how to position yourself to outrank them. It's going to be great stuff, and I'm really looking forward to it. So anyway, thanks everybody. Thanks for watching, and talk to you again soon.